All right, welcome everybody. We are live for this month's office hours for Fast Track Lab. I know we had some questions submitted ahead of time. We've got questions that were emailed in. We've got a bunch of questions from you guys to cover today. And also, if you're here live, let us know that you're here. Put your first name, where you're watching from. This is always a lot of fun to do these office hours calls because I share with you my latest tips, my monthly tips, the tool, insight, product, or strategy, what is working right now in our business. We can pass that along to you. Also, we want to answer your questions as well. If you're watching the replay, welcome. Glad that you are here as well. So it looks like we are good, making sure real quick that we have everything up and running. Looks like everything is good. So as we get going today, I want to jump in and talk about some of the latest happenings. So with Fast Track Lab, we have a class that we have every single month in addition to office hours. And then coming soon, by the way, just giving you a little sneak peek and tease, my team and I are working on ways we can improve Lab even better. And so I've got a bunch of new things to share with you, but not ready to do it just yet. So very, very soon, I would say this final quarter coming up sometime, I would say September, October-ish, you're going to be hearing about all the new stuff, new resources, new awesome training that is coming to Lab. It is going to be awesome. But we also do our monthly classes and make sure, in fact, let me just share my screen real quick. So as some of you might have a lot of people new here, maybe it's your first time doing office hours. If you are on the home page here and you were to come over down here to classes, of course, events is where you'll find the live events that we're doing. That's why this says live right now. That means I'm live. If we go to classes, jump over here to classes, scroll down. The vault is where you're going to find the latest live trainings. Now, you will notice here we got an orientation class that's important to go through. We have what we consider to be step 1 and step 2, which is an entire course for you guys. And then once you kind of reach step 3, that's where the vault is. Now, when you jump into the vault, inside of the vault, we have things divided by discover, which is where a lot of people start. How do I discover my message or my niche? There are classes that you can go and learn about that. How to launch your website and platform. Traffic, how to attract your audience to your message. You can see a bunch of classes for that. Leads, so how do you get traffic to join you on your email list? And then, of course, sales, different methods, different ways of earning income. And then whatever class we have that month, it stays up here at the top so that it doesn't get buried in all the other classes. And so if you missed out or you're like, man, what new training has Jonathan done? Then you want to check this out. This training is this month's training. It's called the 4 types of high ticket offers. And so if you're looking at wanting to implement something that I would say is at least over $2,500 or more into your business, check out that class. You're going to have lots of ideas on the different types of high ticket offers. All right. So, hey, I see we got some people here. Welcome, guys. Let us know you are watching. Give us your first name, where you're watching from. I see Michelle's here from Georgia. Welcome, Michelle. I think we saw some questions come in from you that we'll be getting to shortly. Rich is here from Michigan. Welcome, Rich. So let's go ahead and jump into my monthly tips. This is a monthly feature that we do, and I'm always sharing with you the new things that I'm learning so that you can use them and implement them in your business. So I've got my iPad here, and if you don't know what our monthly tips are, let me get the right thing here. It stands for tool, insight, product, and strategy. What is a tool that I'm really excited to be using right now that's helpful? What is an insight, a product, or a strategy? So today, the insight, product, and strategy I am going to do together. It's a couple of different things, but it's on the same theme. And so first, let me talk about the tool. So the tool that I'm really excited about right now that our team and I have been using a lot, if you haven't used it or you haven't checked it out in a while, you need to go check it out. In fact, you can start with a totally free account, and that's Canva. So Canva has really stepped up their game. First of all, Canva has a whole content planner and a place where you can go schedule your social media. I believe that's for the paid tier. But that's really cool that you can actually create your graphics and then go ahead and schedule them right in the same tool. So our team's been having fun doing that. And then one of the things that we've been using it for, any of you that attended Your Message Matters Live, you may have wondered, well, how did you build out your slides? How did you have your workbook design? We actually use Canva. So let me show you this. This right here was day one slides. So I created a template and just used the graphics that I have that's available to me with Canva to build out. So if you're wanting to do a webinar or you're going to speak at an event and you want to create some slides, that's what you can do with this. So you can see I imported my pictures. These are the exact slides from Your Message Matters Live. See, I just, real easy. You just drag and drop, you move this stuff around, you click on stuff, you decide, what kind of color you want, what is the color scheme you want to use. Easy peasy. Once you build it, you build one slide. You can actually, if you hover over down here, I can say duplicate the page, and it'll duplicate that page so it keeps my design and my colors. And that is exactly how we did it. What's also cool about Canva is if you wanted to use it for a webinar, you could actually hit present right here. And it has built in the ability to do what PowerPoint or Keynote for Mac users does. So you can just click through and do your webinar right inside of Canva. That's really, really slick. Very cool. I love that. The other thing that we used it for was we used it to build our workbook. So let me see if I can find that in here. I think this was our high ticket one. Not seeing our workbook here. Where'd the workbook go? It's here somewhere. Maybe I'm just overlooking it. But I can show you an example with this right here. So this was actually for insiders. We did an insider only day at the live event. And so I wanted to have a handout. So if you're a speaker or a teacher and you want to have handouts, I created this right inside of Canva. So you can see here, this was our insider only bootcamp. It was all about high ticket. You scroll down, you can see we kind of created this page and that page. We created some exercises. We created all of this right here inside of Canva. All this stuff can be moved around. You can search for gray circle and put the gray circle right in here. Filling up your funnels, scripts, all that stuff. Was this whole entire workbook for the Insider Bootcamp was built using Canva. So I'm curious, do you use Canva? Let me know. Or do you like this stuff? Maybe you want to start using Canva. So let's hop back over to the iPad. My tool that I'm loving right now is Canva. All right, so the insight, product, and strategy, the reason I kind of coupled it together is because I'm going to share it with you kind of out of order. So I'm going to start with the product, then the strategy, and then the insight. So it's all over the place. That's why we're combining it. So after live event in July, I was looking for a good book to read. I'm always reading new books. And one that caught my attention is a book that's called Second Brain. Now, I have been a big Evernote user over the years, but there's been times where I've used Evernote less and I've used other tools, and then I come back to Evernote. And Evernote has that concept of like being your second brain. And so when I saw the book, it really grabbed my attention. I have it here on Amazon. Let me show you just so you know what book I'm talking about. This is the book by Tiago Forte, and I found this book to be really, really insightful. I devoured this book. I love this book. And this book is about how to organize your digital life and unlock your creative potential. Now, the reason I love this for our community is because you, by default, are a thought leader. You're a thought leader in your space, in your niche. When you decide to blog, podcast, do YouTube videos, write books, coach people, you become a thought leader. And so because of that, you end up, more than likely, not always, but most of us are in the mindset of we're learning in some form, right? You are probably listening to podcasts, you are buying courses, you are reading books, you're watching YouTube videos. But the question is, how do you assimilate all of that stuff and keep it more organized? And that's what this is about. It's about teaching you how you could come up with, okay, what are the primary projects I'm working on? And then how do I have a central place where all of that is collected so that I can get access to it? So that leads me to kind of the strategy of what I've been doing lately that has been so helpful to me, because I tend to be a person like most creatives where I'm a little bit here, there, and everywhere. Sometimes I like to use the whiteboard. Sometimes I like to think using Workflowy, if you've ever used Workflowy, and you can do more, I would say, like outline form based thinking. So you have mind mapping, outline based kind of processing through. If you're organizing a course, let's use a course as an example. If you're going to do a course, then maybe you like to think and I keep pointing over here because that's literally where the wall behind my desk is literally where my my whiteboard is. And so let's say I start there, kind of just getting everything out of my head, right? It's a little bit of a mess. Everything's all over the place. But that's helpful for me to process. And then I say, okay, I want to create an outline. So what I do is I go to Workflowy and maybe I start creating the outline. I move things around, put stuff underneath each other. And now I've kind of taken my unstructured thinking and put it into an outline. Okay. And then I want to reference some books and quotes that I have. So you see how quickly you can be all over the place? But what's cool is you can have a second brain, and you can use, and there's more tools than Evernote, but in the book, he talks about the 4 different types of ways that we think. And so I tend to be the personality type that would use Evernote. So let me show you an example so we can kind of show how all this works together. So in the book, it talks about, and this is my Evernote right here, and I know this is kind of small. I don't know if I can make this any bigger, but right here you have projects, areas, resources, and archive. In the book, Second Brain, he uses, and maybe it'd be easier for me to just put it here. So he uses the kind of made up a word, para. So why is my pen acting weird today? That's really weird. Okay. Let's try this again. Wow, I've never seen it like slow to respond like this before. All right, so para, right? P-A-R-A. P, if I can write it, stands for projects. There we go. It's working now. Projects, areas, resources, and archive. So I'm basically teaching the book without you having to read the book. So the Second Brain, the concept is all of us have projects. Projects are the things on your plate. I want to create an online course. I want to launch a coaching program. I want to write a book, right? You're more than likely you're going to have anywhere from 3 to 5 projects that you're working on. You've also maybe heard this reference as your big three. So what are your quarterly big three goals? That's the way that I always operate. Every quarter, I choose my 3 big quarterly goals. And so those are your projects. And under your projects, they call it notebook stack, live your 3 to 5 projects. Under areas, this is going to be your different areas of your life, right? This might be, family. It might be, hey, I'm a business owner, right? I'm a deacon at my church. It's the different areas of your life where you can kind of store things that are in there. So under family, that's where you collect ideas for your vacation, right? You grabbed a snapshot here, you grabbed an idea here, and you're just throwing it in Evernote, a place to have it under areas. Resources, think of it as like your library. So if you're a book reader and you're grabbing quotes or you're snapping pictures and you're saving it in Evernote, it can go under resources. Archive can be stuff that you want to keep, but you no longer need at the moment. It could be an old project that you'd end up moving to archive. Okay? And so when you look at that, that's how all of this is divided. So I'm going to just show you, if I go under projects, and let me do it this way, and I'll take you through one right now. So one of my projects is Market Your Message Academy. Right now, as I'm recording this, it is open. We do this a couple times a year where we open up the academy, and it teaches people a 6-week coaching program on how to launch a Facebook group, do a free challenge, and sell something at the end of that, right? So this is a little snapshot of what I've been using. So I first of all said, well, I want to do a challenge myself. So I did the Grow Your Audience Challenge Brainstorm, and all of this stuff in here is everything I got out of my head for that 5-day challenge to try to organize it so I know what I'm teaching, right? This right here is something that my designer is going to turn into a cool looking PDF. I wanted to create a bonus for my course, Market Your Message Academy, called 21 Free Ways to Fill Your Facebook Group. And so I used an Evernote note to get all that out of my head. Boom. Now this is ready to go to the designer to make it look nice and make it a nice bonus. Updating the course outline. So every single time we do a new round of this, I am deleting certain videos that maybe were confusing or no longer viable, and I am adding new videos. And so I've got some new videos to record that I'm working on now. I'm getting rid of some old videos, and this is the whole outline for everything our students learn inside of the academy. And then finally, you see this cool thing. So this is a snapshot of my whiteboard. So I took my whiteboard and I divided it into 3 phases, right? Promo, challenge, open cart. So what's all the stuff that I want to think about for the promo part, promoting the challenge? Okay, what do I want to do for the challenge? And then what are some things that I need to do are related to the open cart or the offer, right? Now you might be saying, Jonathan, how did you get this picture that looks so good in here? And one of the reasons I love Evernote is all of these words, yes, even kind of my messy writing, I could search for promo or challenge, and this Evernote note would show up. That's one of the cool things, is it has what's called OCR recognition, where it can actually recognize the words in an image. Crazy, right? So how did I get this in there? That leads me to the final one, and then we're going to get to your questions. So Second Brain, Evernote. I don't know why my iPad's struggling today. I have no idea why. But Second Brain, Evernote, and then finally, it's an app on your phone called Rocket Book. Now, I can't show it to you, but let me see. I might be able to find it on Amazon and then show you what I'm talking about. So Rocket Book is an app on your phone that you can snap a picture of anything and then send it to Evernote. But it also has this cool thing for a whiteboard. Let's see if I can find it. Very inexpensive, but it's really cool. Here it is. Here's my screen share. It is called Rocketbook Beacons. Very inexpensive, $13. But for $13, you take each of these squares and you could put them on a wall if you don't have a whiteboard. You could put them on your whiteboard in the corners. And then you snap a picture using Rocketbook and say, send to Evernote. Boom, it goes into Evernote. And what's cool about it is you say, well, can't you do that with just any old image? Yeah, but what it does is I can't explain it. This doesn't look like a picture I took. It looks like I drew right on here, right? It like enhances the image and makes it look really good. And so I've used that. I did some brainstorming around my business right here. I did a couple different things here. Like this one was all about trying to decide what are the weekly recurring activities that I do, the monthly recurring, the miscellaneous stuff I'm doing, and then how could I batch that so that I do a bunch of them all at once. And so this was me just thinking about all that a little bit everywhere, right? But then I'm able to go right in here. And so let's see if this would work. See how this says weekly batch? Let's see if I were to type in weekly batch. Oops, let me get out of that. Well, now it's going to show all the stuff. So you can see I got a lot of stuff in Evernote. So this is like all the stuff that has weekly batch in it, apparently. But this just becomes my second brain, because if I were to, let me just back up here. If I were to talk about, let's say in my book, I wanted to talk about hope. Then boom, this is stuff that I've highlighted from books. Daring to Hope. That looks like a sermon that I must have taken notes from. I can go through all of this and find where hope was. So enough of that. You can see it becomes your second brain, where you can use it for your writing, for creating, for everything. So that was probably a little bit more advanced. You don't need to go too advanced. Just start somewhere. And if you're not currently using something like Evernote, have a central location where your stuff is going, and just know that you can search for it later and it becomes your second brain. All right, iPad out of the way because it doesn't seem to be cooperating today. If you guys have some questions, now it's time to ask. Put the letter Q in your question, and I'm going to stick around for as long as we have questions. And we had some questions submitted ahead of time, so I am going right now to find those, and I will pull them up so you can see the questions. All right. So first question is from Kelly. Kelly says, regarding your Facebook group strategy, I posted my weekly video in my group and then put a link to it on my personal page, inviting people to view it at the group. But I also went live when I was recording on my personal page. Was that a mistake? I didn't have anyone ask to join the group. Only a few in the group watched it. Was that because they could see the recording of my live stream on the personal page? Is it better to only post and go live on my group page? Yeah, so this is a great question, Kelly. And so I had this same problem in the beginning when I was doing my weekly show, because I was going live everywhere. So I was using a Restream at the time, and I was going live in the Facebook group. I was going live on my business page. I was going live on my personal profile. I was going live on YouTube, and I was going live on Twitter. Now, one advantage to that is you can capture more people, right? You're casting a wider net when you're going live in multiple places. The downside is, what is your end game? What is the end game that you are trying to accomplish? And when I looked at that, I said, you know what? My end game is I want people, in order to watch the weekly show, I want them to join the Facebook group. So I need to decide, even if it means less live viewers, it's going to mean more members, right? I'm okay with that. And so I took from streaming all over the place. And yes, initially I went to less live people that I was going live to. But if you know my strategy behind my weekly show, I take the training portion and it becomes a YouTube video. It becomes a future podcast. And so I wasn't necessarily relying on people always showing up live. So when you think about it, the question you have to answer, Kelly, is what is the end game? If the end game is I want more Facebook members, then do something exclusive like your live videos just in your Facebook group. And that way, when you even email your list, you can say, hey, I'm doing this live Q&A every week, but you got to be a member. It's one of the benefits of being a member of my Facebook group. That right there, creating that singular focus has helped. Now, does that mean I'd never go multi-streaming? No. In fact, tonight at 8 o'clock, I'm going to attempt, hopefully, if everything works, to multi-stream, but I've got a different end in mind. My end in mind is I'm sharing success stories of some of our Academy students who have launched a Facebook group, done a challenge, and gotten paid. And I thought, man, I want to share these stories on YouTube, on Facebook, whether it's on my personal page, business page, wherever. And so we're going to be multi-streaming. So that is the question you have to ask is, what is my end game? If it's more Facebook group members, then do the live just in your Facebook group. If it's, I want more people to know about this course that I'm selling, then you could do it multiple places. So hope that helps. All right. Let's jump back in here. Michelle's got a question, and I think, Michelle, yeah, you're here. All right, working on publishing my next 2 courses. Awesome, Michelle. That's awesome to hear. My first one, let me see if I can make this question a little bigger so you guys can see it. Let's go here. Okay, maybe that helps a little bit. Working on publishing my next 2 courses. My first one was just video-based with me recording straight into my phone and then uploading it into lessons on my course site. So before I go any further, because I haven't read this yet, I think that's awesome. Like that you just took action, because so many people get stuck on, should I have a fancy camera and should I do, all this other stuff? But you just took action just to get something up and out for sale. You can always improve things later, which sounds like that's what you're looking to do. For the next 2 courses, I would like to be able to share my screen and show files, as well as have my talking points on slides for them. I figured out how to do this inside PowerPoint. I do not have Kajabi, and also have a talking head in the corner of my slides. Would it be better to record videos of myself speaking and then splice in the short videos of my screen sharing the documents that I want to show them? I'm just not sure what looks better. Also, I guess the sound is better with my lapel mic in the phone versus my laptop recordings in PowerPoint. Sorry, complicated. Yeah, I know. It gets complicated really easily. So the answer is to keep it simple as possible. So for example, if you figured out how to do the PowerPoint and that will work for you, then you can use the feature on PowerPoint where you can just record the audio and show the screens. If you're feeling like I need to show my video, that adds another level of complexity. So what you have to ask yourself is it that important? So for example, I'm using a live stream software. When I go to screen share, it still has my video right here, right? But I can just as easily hit the X button and not have one there. But my streaming software allows me to configure something like this. But if you're like, I'm not sure how to do it, then that would be one thing. I'm not sure if you're on PowerPoint. I'm assuming you're on a PC. If you are on a Mac, you can use what I'm using right now, Ecamm. And I use Ecamm. Now, Ecamm is only for Mac, unfortunately. But Ecamm allows you to do what I'm doing, where I can just easily say, hey, I want to share my screen, or I want to show a PowerPoint. You can even drag and drop your PowerPoint into your Ecamm. And the point is, you don't have to use it just as a live streaming software. I've actually used it the last 2 years as my method of recording. So there's a record only feature on Ecamm. But again, that's giving to another level of complexity. So what I would say, Michelle, is to keep it simple. And if you have PowerPoint, then you want to do that. If you have some documents, you're like, well, how do I show the documents in the PowerPoint? One little trick that I've done is I actually just do a screenshot of the document and put it into a PowerPoint so that it's already built into my PowerPoint. So yeah, so hopefully that helps. All right, see some comments here. Rich says, I use Canva, really like it, but I know I barely scratched the surface of what I can do with it. Yeah. Rich says, I probably have a dozen yellow pads filled with content ideas, plus tons of notes in Google Docs and Evernote. I need to get better at processing these and taking action on them. Yeah, so you need a home base, Rich. It's okay to use other tools, but have a home base. So for example, I do like to use Workflowy. Let me just show you because I keep talking about it. Workflowy. So I like to use Workflowy because I'm able to, and you see I set up the same kind of system: projects, areas, resources, archive. I like it because I am able to come in here and just brainstorm, like new course. And then I could say, I want an intro, I want a module 1, I want a module 2, module 3, and then say, okay, I want to dig into the intro. I can actually click on this, and now I'm just working on the intro part. You know, video 1, video 2. But here becomes the difficult thing. Okay, so if you're using Workflowy, but yet you've got your project in Evernote, how do you get them to work together? Well, one of the things you can do, if I back up here, is I can come right here and I can say share, or right here, share, enable link sharing, copy link, and then I can come over here to Evernote, wherever my Evernote went. Where did Evernote go? There it is, it's hiding. And let's just go into here. And let's say one of these, if I were to create a new note, and let's not do that. Let's say I called this the index of my project. I could say here, my course outline brainstorm. I know it's super small, but just to show you the point, I could highlight this and click on this little link here. Bam, paste the link. And then guess what? If I'm working again from Evernote, Evernote's the home, I can click on this and it takes me directly straight to, voila, my outline that I'm working on in my course. So the key is to find a system where you have at least one home base and then it creates links. You could do the link to a Google Doc, right? So I would, Rich, take pictures of I would personally lay out your Post-it notes, take a picture of it, send that into Evernote, and then you can put a link to your Google Docs in Evernote, and now you've got your stuff in a central location. You can still use sticky notes if you want to, if it's the way that you brainstorm and process. You can still use Google Docs. Just link it up to your second brain in one home base, which would be, in this case, Evernote. But of course, there's others out there. Michelle says, I use Evernote a ton also. Not as much for Pix or Whiteboard, though. Good idea. Yeah, give that a shot. All right, there was one other question that I saw come in, and there's no other questions. We will wrap this up. So if you've got your questions, now's the time to ask. One more question that came in. I believe the question I saw was from Tom Bump. He said, just finished the 90-day Power System Bootcamp. Wow, that was awesome. By the way, did you know that let me show you guys in case you missed this. This was a special one-day bootcamp that we did just for lab members. And if you haven't watched it yet, we did it at the beginning of the year. It is so worth it even right now. If you feel scattered, unfocused, and you don't know what your 3 big priorities are, and you don't have a plan to accomplish them, let me show you This is just for lab members. If you go down into classes, you will scroll down. You'll see it right here. It's the 90-day Power System Bootcamp. You click on that. And there are 4 sessions. Each session is probably 30 minutes in length. We recorded all of this live, but it will help you set yourself up going into the last quarter of this year. So just a little tip, go watch that. That's what Tom is referring to. Now, Tom, back to your question. Just finished watching the 90-day Power System Bootcamp. Wow, that was awesome. Question, when you're blocking the focus times and you have your 3 to 5 things to work on, if you don't complete them all, do they move to another session? My fear is I may list my options and do 1 or 2, and then in the next schedule focus time, I have new options and wind up missing something. What do you do to make sure you have the freedom but still get all of things completed on time? So what he's referring to is one of the steps are to find focus blocks on your calendar. So I use Google Calendar, and when I use Google Calendar, I have focus blocks set up. And these focus blocks have the top sprint projects that I'm working on. So they're related to my big 3 goals. And I was going to try to see if I can show you an example here. So typically what I like to do is, and go back to share my screen. So here's my Google Calendar this week. And you can see here, it's kind of a light green now, but if I were to click on this and open it up, Tuesday is my batch day. So I try to leave Tuesdays completely open. I put no appointments on Tuesdays, and I'm just working. Now I like to batch, which is like do a bunch of the same thing is a batch. So for example, yesterday I recorded 6 episodes of my show. So that's 6 podcast episodes, 6 YouTube videos, even though I'm only recording 6. And I've got the next 6 for the live stream. I don't have to think about my Market Your Message show now for a month and a half till the middle of October, which is really cool. Now, if I had more to do on this, if I didn't have something big like this, but maybe it was write a chapter in my next book, record 2 videos for my course, and number 3 was to, I don't know, something else, whatever it is, then what I would do is I would add it into my blocked time. I like to use the notes section. I would add it in there, and then I would also add it in the next focus block too. So the point is, this is what, just to kind of clear things up. If I had 3 things I wanted to accomplish this week, and let's say I found 3 focus blocks of time, I would not assign 1 this, 2 this, 3 that, because one of them may take longer and overlap on the other. What I personally would do is I would put all 3 things in all 3 of those focus blocks, so that when I sat down to work, let's say the first one's Tuesday morning and I've got 2 hours, and I look at it and go, okay, my top 3 things I'm working on this week is I want to write a chapter in my book, I want to record 2 videos for my upcoming course, and whatever the third thing is. I would put all 3 in there and decide in that moment which one I want to go ahead and knock out. And then that way, it's not like, well, if I don't accomplish this, then it ruins that, and it ruins that, and my whole week gets ruined. That's what I would do. All right. So guys, let me know your takeaways. We're wrapping things up now. If you don't have any other questions, I'm just checking to make sure I didn't miss any other questions that came in. Looks like we are good. Got that one. We're good there. So yeah, I think that's it. So guys, thank you so much for being here for office hours. Next, just to give you a sneak peek, while some of you you're putting in your takeaways, I want to talk about the next class that's coming up. Is actually happening Wednesday, September 7th. And this month we talked about high ticket offers. So these are 4 different ways to earn money for a ticket price that's $2,500 and up. Maybe some of you are like, Jonathan, I don't think I could ever sell anything $2,500 and up. This next month's going to be for you. This is going to be low ticket offers. So what are some low ticket offers that you can create that turns a prospect into a customer, right? Something low. Like this isn't one of the three, but an example would be, well, I guess this could be one of the three, would be to write and publish a book, right? That's low ticket. It's typically something under, I would say $100 is low ticket. Something over $2,500 is high ticket. And mid ticket is somewhere between $100 and $2,500. So if you don't have a low ticket offer working in your business, it could be a great way to expand your customer base, right? Because if you've got 1,000 people on a list, you may only have one or two, maybe more, but let's just say you only have 5 people who would be willing to spend $2,500 with you off the 1,000 member list. But with a low ticket offer, you might have 500 of them willing to buy a book. And so it helps to create a pathway of belonging for them in what you teach. So just like for a lot of people in my world, the book is where they started. Some of them jump into lab, some jumped into academy, and then they end up in Insider, which is my high ticket offer. But if I only had the high ticket offer, it would probably be difficult. So they all can work together. I hope that's helpful. All right. Takeaway. Rich says, I need to go through the 90-day power system again. Michelle says, thank you. Love Wednesdays for training. That works well for my schedule. See you September 7th. Yeah, we've made an adjustment due to my schedule to do more of the office hours and the fast track classes on Wednesdays. So that's what we're going to do, at least for now, for the next couple of months. See how it goes. All right, guys, thanks again for being here. I hope you had a great day and hope this was helpful to you. If you didn't catch us live, but you watched the replay, I still hope that you're doing well. If you got more questions, ask them below, and I can always cover them on a future call. Take care, everybody. Have a good day. Bye-bye.